Recently, a viewer of the channel asked me what my favorite Bible was, and that's a difficult question. I'd never thought about it before. So I decided to come up with a top 10 list, and to make it simple, I excluded study Bibles. So in this video, you'll see, starting with number 10, my 10 favorite Bibles. Number 10 is a side column reference Bible. This is a 1977 New American Standard by Holman or Holman, however that's pronounced. I bought it in 1989 and paid quite a lot for it. It was bonded leather, and the bonded leather actually began to crack after just a few years. It was not a very good bonded leather, and then it got sticky. And so what I ended up doing was removing the cover altogether. When I did that, I actually have a very nice paperback Bible here, which I often use to follow along with Bible studies or sermons where the person preaching is preaching from the New American Standard. It's very easy using the 77 to follow along with the 95, and I'm sure there's so few differences between this edition and the Legacy Standard Bible that will be no issue either. So this is the SCR format. Unfortunately, this is a red letter Bible. In 1989, I had yet to discover that I really didn't like red letters, that they caused me eye strain. But still a very good Bible, sewn binding, very good opaque paper. It's not line matched. They didn't do that in those days. And if I had it to design differently, I would put these references near the gutter and leave more flat space on the page for the text. But I think they've done it this way in order to give room for people who like to write in their margins, more contiguous space. So this coverless 1977 Holman SCR is my number 10 Bible. In ninth place, you'll find this edition of the Geneva Bible. I actually reviewed this. I think it may have been in the very first video that I did on the channel, before I knew what I was doing. It's a Geneva Bible from 1599 with the Sternhold and Hopkins Psalms, and typical Geneva Bible format, with the old style S's that look like F's and the V's that look like U's and the U's that look like V's. Say here, and unto thy seed will I give. But it's a neat old Bible, and I really enjoy it. The notes and the illustrations, kind of like entering into a time machine, reading a book like this. In eighth place is the Westminster Reference Bible with its 200,000 references, even though my box says 80,000, and I mistakenly said 80,000 based on that in the review, which you can find on this channel. But this is just excellent. It's not too large, and the layout is fantastic. The calfskin cover is a little stiff, and my particular edition squeaks a bit. But I really like it. I love all the references, and occasionally you will find marginal notes where they explain how words in the King James Version have changed meaning over time. Say, for instance, here in Philippians, I think it's toward the end of the chapter, who shall change our vile body. So you think naturally today that vile means in some way disgusting, nasty, but actually it just meant lowly in those days. It's a great format. I love the fact that the text is out on the flat part of the page. The font is kind of small, but it's not very small. My eyes are old, so 9-point font is beginning to look small, but it's still not so small that I can't read it. In eighth place is this Cambridge Cameo with the Apocrypha. And please don't take offense at the word of Apocrypha. That is what Cambridge decided to call the Bible, and I'm not intending to insult anyone by using that term. This is the Cambridge Cameo format. It is a black letter text, which I really enjoy here in the New Testament. It's the principal reason that I'm showing you this one rather than the newer one. This is an older edition with a black calfskin cover, but I think it's calf split. It's fairly stiff. The font, I believe, is around 8 points. Center column references that are aligned with the text, so you don't have to go searching if you're reading up here, way down here to find a reference. They are lined up fairly close. And just an excellent Bible altogether. Plus it has information in the back. You have this lengthy concordance. And a Bible dictionary. And Cambridge maps. So excellent, excellent choice. In sixth place is the Nelson NKJV Wide Margin Bible, which was produced back in the 1980s. My particular copy is the 476 BG Burgundy. And it's a very nice Bible. It has good heavy paper in it. Nicely textured cover. You can see how things have worn off the spine with use over the years. This is the 1982 NKJV text. And so you had a wide margin on the inside and on the outside. You had a somewhat larger font here, close to 9 points, and then about half a point smaller font for poetry. That's one thing I don't like about it. I wish they had managed to make the poetry the same size font. Of course, they did that likely to decrease the number of page breaks they would need. Good bold headings in the text, center column references, with the verse numbers here in bold, making them easy to use. Although again, the page-ordered references I think are better. You don't have to search down to the bottom of the page to find them. And again, you have margins all around and a nice dark font, which I really enjoy. In fifth place is a Bible that I found on eBay, used, but it was like new. It's as if it had never been used. It's a Revised Standard Version with a dictionary, concordance, and maps, published by Concordia Publishing House, which is a Lutheran publishing house. And it was published in 1969, but the thing is essentially like new. It has a cowhide binding. There's the spine. The gilting is holding up fairly well. And it had never been broken in. I had to break it in. Very nice bold print. Center column references. Easy to read. This is a relatively small Bible, so you can read this in bed. It's portable. And I love the Revised Standard Version. I like the fact that it's in 20th century Standard English before the gender-neutral language came in. And it's just stylistically very, very nice. The only issue I have with this Bible is, as you can see, it doesn't want to open very widely, and so you really do have to work to read in the center column, the center part of the text near the gutter. In fourth place is a fantastic Bible. This is the Oxford Brevier Clarendon type wide margin reference Bible. It's in a stiff calfskin, Marrakesh grain. Don't think Oxford makes this anymore. Allan publishes this with the goatskin cover and calls it its 5 wide margin. The Allan edition has 45 GSM paper. This is 55 GSM paper. I have a piece of graph paper in here that I slide behind the page to keep my notes straight. This is what the text looks like. So it's the Brevier Clarendon text. Nice and dark and very opaque paper. Font is not that big. It's about 8 points. But it really works excellently as a wide margin. See how wide the margins are. That's exactly what you need to be able to write all around the text and not have to make a comment over here for something that belongs to this column. There is some show through. There's some notes there, and you can see them through the paper if you look carefully, but certainly is not very bad. I haven't noticed any bleed through issues at all. So this is Probably the best wide margin Bible that I've ever used. I should point out that these ribbons are not original. I believe it originally came with 1 or 2 black ribbons, and I've put 3 in. These are actually not glued into place. They're on a card that's slipped into the spine. In third place is the American Standard Version edition from Prolific Industries. This is a very thick, heavy paper ASV Bible. Just a hardback, but I put it in third place because of the paper. Nice and matte surface, no shine to it. Because the print, even though it's not quite as bold as I would like, it is simply so easy to read. And I think they've done a better job with line spacing in this typesetting than in the original Nelson edition that this was based on. So this is just an excellent Bible. Center column references, text and translation notes on the outer edge. And I have done a full review of this Bible. So you can find that if you're interested on my channel. In second place is the Cambridge KJV-RV Interlinear Bible. It has the Revised Version and the King James Version with text and a smaller font where the 2 translations vary or differ from each other rather. So here it is, salmon colored, art gilt edges, goatskin cover, good print quality, very nice and dark throughout. And you can see here, moreover, he made high places in the mountains of Judah. And the Revised Version reads made, and the King James Version reads caused the inhabitants of Jerusalem to go a-whoring, is what the Revised Version has, and commit fornication, and led, Revised Version, compelled, King James Version. So that's the way it works, and it's very nice. My only problem with it is my eyes are getting old, presbyopia is setting in, and so it's a little difficult to read the small font in the places where the 2 translations differ without some kind of magnification. Still, it's a Bible I very much enjoy using. So now we're down to number 1. This is it. The Allan 53 Brown, the Longprimer with chain references in brown highland goatskin. And I can say all kinds of wonderful things about this Bible. I do have 2 complaints about it, but it is just a joy to use. It feels fantastic in your hands. The paper is excellent. The print is excellent. It's nice and large. I can't remember the exact font size, but it's in the Longprimer class, so it's around 10 points. The book names are in the outer edge, which was a little unusual for Oxford. They often put it here, which made it less useful. But you could find your way around the Bible very easily this way. I like the center column references. They are in page order. You have these helpful little chronological hints here. You have Oxford's text and translation notes in the center column. Some of them are textual critical, like this. I love all those things. That's to me, that's fantastic. You have material at the back, proper name index here. So you have a dictionary of scripture proper names, subject index, and concordance in the back. Lots of lined paper, and then you have the Oxford maps. This isn't quite the most recent edition of the Oxford maps, I think, but these are still excellent maps. So what are the 2 things I dislike about it? Oh, wonderful ribbon markers too. The 2 things I dislike about it are the fact that the King James Version's italic font, used to indicate that the translator had added some wording to smooth out the text or make the meaning more clear, is not in italics in this edition. I'm sure they did that to improve the readability and the declutter the font, but still I would have preferred to have the italics in. The other thing that I think makes it less than perfect is the line spacing is just a little bit on the tight side. Well, so that is it. That's my number one Bible. And I hope you enjoyed this hopefully short video. Thanks very much for watching, and I encourage you to subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined.